The penthouse was quiet enough to hear secrets settle. A powerful man leaned close to his wife, voice low, indulgent. Just one more round. He thought no one else was listening. He was wrong. In the shadow of silk curtains, the black maid froze. Because that whisper wasn't about cards or drinks or games. It was about patience, about possession, about something that would change her life forever. Today's story will show you how small moments expose dangerous truths, and how love can rise where it was never meant to exist. Please like, share, and subscribe. The glass walls of the penthouse overlooked Cheongdam-dong, Seoul, shimmering below like a secret it kept well. Cars moved like quiet confessions. The city never slept, but inside this apartment, everything waited. Alicia Moore stood near the service corridor, hands folded. Posture perfect. The uniform, black dress, white collar, made her invisible by design. That was the point. You learned quickly in houses like this that being unseen was survival. She was 24, curvy, soft where the world had been hard. Her curls were pulled back neatly, but nothing could hide the weight behind her eyes. America had taught her how to endure. Korea was teaching her how to listen. Just one more round. The voice came from the living room, low, controlled. A man used to being obeyed without asking. Alicia froze. She knew that voice. Kang Jun-hyuk. Everyone did. Chairman Kang, CEO to the public, Don to the underworld. The man whose name made entire boardrooms straighten, and rivals disappear quietly. No scandals. No mess. Precision. Always. He was speaking softly, almost tenderly. To celebrate, he added. A pause, stretching. You've been patient with me. A woman laughed. Elegant, familiar. His wife. Madame Kang, Seo Yura, moved through the apartment like she owned not just the space, but time itself. Old money, old alliances, raised in Hanam-dong, educated in Lausanne, married for power, love. Optional. Alicia should have stepped back, should have returned to the kitchen. But something in the way he said it, just one more, felt intimate in a way the chandeliers never were. You always say that, Yura replied, amused. And you always win. Not always, a beat. Just when it matters. Silence followed. Thick, loaded. Alicia swallowed. She wasn't meant to hear this. Later that evening, she served tea, hands steady, eyes lowered. Jun-hyuk noticed everything. He always did. His gaze flicked to her once, just once, but it landed like a weight. Not hunger, not dismissal. Recognition. That was worse. Leave us, Yura said lightly, waving her hand. Alicia bowed. Yes, madam. As she turned, she felt it again. That awareness. Like being seen through walls. The next morning, rain traced the windows. Alicia scrubbed the marble island in the kitchen, the smell of samgyetang simmering softly behind her. The cook had left early. She was filling in. Again. Miss Moore, she startled. Jun-hyuk stood in the doorway, jacket off, sleeves rolled just enough to suggest intimacy without inviting it. He looked human, which unsettled her more than his tailored perfection ever could. Yes, Chairman Kang, he frowned. You live here. Use my name. A pause. Sir. Almost a smile. Almost. You're American? He said. Not a question. Yes. Why Korea? Her hands slowed. Because sometimes you run out of places to hide. He studied her like a chessboard. And did you? She met his eyes. Just for a second. No, she said softly. I learned how to stand still. Something shifted. Good, he murmured. Stillness is power. Then he turned and left. Alicia exhaled only when he was gone. A few days later, the house was filled with guests, a private dinner, investors, politicians, men who laughed too loudly and women who smiled like knives. Alicia moved between them with practiced grace, serving tteokbokki in porcelain bowls that cost more than her childhood home. She felt eyes on her, always. One man lingered. "Hey," he said, switching to English with ease. "You're new." She smiled politely. "Just doing my job." "I'm Min Jae," he said. "Advisor to the chairman." She nodded. "Nice to meet you. You should let me show you Noryangjin sometime," he added casually. "Best street food, off the map." Her smile tightened. "I don't go out much." Shame. From across the room, Jun Hyuk watched. His jaw tightened, just slightly. Later, as the guests filtered out, he intercepted Min Jae near the bar. "You're reassigned," Jun Hyuk said calmly. Min Jae blinked. "Sir?" "Busan," he continued, "effective immediately." "May I ask why?" Jun Hyuk's eyes were flat. "No." Min Jae swallowed. "Understood." Alicia didn't see that exchange. She only noticed that Min Jae never spoke to her again. By the end of the week, patterns formed. Jun Hyuk always ensured she ate. If she worked late, a car waited. If rain fell, an umbrella appeared. Held by someone else, always anonymous. Protection without claiming. Obsession without touch. One night, she overheard Yura on the phone. "You're distracted," Yura said sharply. "Don't insult me by pretending otherwise." "I'm managing," Jun Hyuk replied. "Careful," Yura warned. "You forget what our marriage is." Alicia backed away before she heard more. Her chest ached, for reasons she refused to name. Later that night, unable to sleep, Alicia stepped onto the terrace. The city hummed below. "Couldn't rest?" a voice asked. She turned. Jun Hyuk stood beside her, the night framing him like a confession. "I'm sorry," she said quickly. "I didn't mean to—" "Stay," he interrupted. She did. They stood in silence. "You're afraid of abandonment," he said quietly. Her breath caught. "What?" He didn't look at her. "People who leave home early usually are." She folded her arms. "You don't know me." "I know enough," he said. A pause. "Maybe too much." The space between them felt dangerous, not physically, emotionally. "I should go," she whispered. "Yes," he agreed. Neither moved. When she finally left, he stayed behind, staring at the city as it had betrayed him. For the first time in years, Kang Jun Hyuk wanted something he could not own. And that terrified him. The next morning arrived quietly, the kind of quiet that pressed against the ribs. Alicia woke before dawn in the small staff apartment tucked behind the penthouse level. The room smelled faintly of detergent and instant coffee, safe, neutral, nothing that belonged to him. That mattered. She dressed slowly, smoothing the black uniform like armor. "You're imagining things," she told herself. "Maybe. Probably not. But still." Downstairs, the household moved with muted precision. Phones buzzed, doors opened and closed without slamming. The Kang residence ran like a nation-state, every person knowing their role, every silence intentional. Alicia was refilling water glasses when Madame Kang entered. CO Yura looked flawless even at 8 in the morning. Silk blouse, hair pinned just so. The kind of woman magazines called untouchable. "Alicia," Yura said, voice pleasant. "Yes, madam." "You've been here, 3 months?" "Yes. And before that?" "Private housekeeping in New York, hotels, long-term residences." Yura nodded slowly, studying her. "You're good at disappearing." Alicia's fingers tightened around the tray. "I try not to disturb." "That's wise," Yura replied. Then, after a pause, "My husband values loyalty. He rewards it generously, but he notices everything." The words landed softly, like a warning wrapped in velvet. "I understand, madam." Yura smiled. "Good." She walked away, heels echoing like punctuation. Alicia exhaled. Later that morning, Jun Hyuk prepared to leave for a board meeting in Uido. His driver waited. His security detail hovered at a distance. Alicia handed him his coat. Their fingers brushed, barely. The contact lasted less than a second. Still, it felt loud. He stilled. So did she. "You're shaking," he said quietly. "I'm fine," she replied immediately. Too fast. He studied her face. No makeup, honest eyes, fear layered under composure. "You're not," he said. She swallowed. "With respect, sir." "Jun Hyuk," he corrected. A pause. Jun Hyuk. The name tasted dangerous. "You don't have to carry everything alone," he said, voice low enough that no one else could hear. Her mouth curved into a sad smile. People who say that usually leave first. Something dark flickered behind his eyes. "I don't leave," he said. "I end things. Permanently." She should have been frightened. Instead, she felt oddly safe. A few days later, the house buzzed with tension. Whispers moved faster than footsteps. Alicia caught fragments. Audit, prosecutor, press inquiry. Power always attracted challengers. That evening, while setting the dining table, she overheard raised voices from the study. "This isn't nothing," Yura snapped. "If the media connects the shell companies—" "They won't," Jun Hyuk replied calmly. "You're too confident." "I'm prepared." Silence. Then, "And what about her?" Yura asked sharply. Alicia froze. "Who?" he asked. "The maid," Yura said. "The American." Alicia's heart slammed. Jun Hyuk didn't answer right away. When he finally did, his voice was controlled. Dangerous. "She's irrelevant." The word cut deeper than she expected. Irrelevant. She backed away, chest tight, so that was it. That night, Alicia packed. Not everything, just essentials, passport, cash, a photo of her mother she always carried. She left a note for the head housekeeper. Polite, professional. "Thank you for the opportunity." She didn't say goodbye. By the time Jun Hyuk returned home after midnight, she was gone. He noticed immediately. "Where is she?" he asked. The housekeeper hesitated. "Alicia? She resigned this evening." Something cold settled in his chest. "She didn't inform me. She said it was personal, sir." He nodded once. "I see." He went to his study and closed the door. Then he broke a glass. The next morning, Seoul woke to chaos. News alerts, financial speculation. A rival faction is testing boundaries. And somewhere in Itaewon, Alicia sat in a cafe, staring at untouched hot talk, wondering why leaving hurt more than staying ever had. Her phone buzzed. Unknown number. She didn't answer. It buzzed again. Then a text. "You didn't say goodbye?" Her breath caught. Another message followed. That was unkind. She stared at the screen, then typed back. "You said I was irrelevant." Minutes passed. Then, "I said that to protect you." Her hands trembled. "From what?" The reply came slower this time. "From me." She closed her eyes. Maybe. Probably not. But still, her heart raced. Meanwhile, Jun Hyuk sat in a conference room surrounded by men arguing about damage control. He wasn't listening. His mind replayed her voice, her stillness. The way she looked at him was like she expected him to disappear. He stood abruptly. "Postpone," he said. One advisor blinked. "Sir, the press, postpone everything," Jun Hyuk repeated. "I'm leaving." "To where?" He picked up his coat. "To retrieve what I failed to keep safe." By noon, the rain had stopped, but the city still felt damp with unfinished thoughts. Alicia left the cafe and walked downhill toward Itaewon Row, letting the crowd swallow her. Tourists laughed. Soldiers in plain clothes blended in. Music spilled from open doors, Afrobeats, K-pop, something nostalgic and off-key. She liked this part of Seoul, messy, honest. Nobody pretended power didn't exist here. They just lived around it. Her phone buzzed again. Tell me where you are. She didn't reply. Another message followed, shorter. Please. That word, it shouldn't have shaken her. Kang Jun-hyuk didn't beg, ever. The entire country knew that. She powered the phone off. Stillness. Power. He'd said that once. She was choosing stillness now. Across the river, Jun-hyuk stood on the helipad of a private hospital in Gangnam, coat snapping lightly in the wind. Sir, his head of security said carefully, with the prosecutor inquiry and the internal audit, this isn't advisable. Jun-hyuk adjusted his cufflinks. Neither is breathing polluted air. We do it anyway. Madam Kang, she's informed, he cut in. I'll deal with her later. The helicopter blades roared to life. As they lifted off, his phone vibrated. Location ping. Itai 1. His jaw tightened. A few hours later, Alicia stood in a small boutique, pretending to browse scarves she couldn't afford. The shop owner, a middle-aged woman with sharp eyeliner, watched her kindly. You're not shopping, the woman said. You're hiding. Alicia huffed a quiet laugh. That obvious? In this neighborhood, everyone is hiding from something. She paused. You want tea? Yes, Alicia said softly. That would be nice. They drank yuja cha in silence. Then the bell over the door chimed. The air changed. Not loud, not dramatic, heavy. Alicia didn't look up right away. She didn't have to. She felt him. Thank you, Jun-hyuk said to the shop owner, his Korean polite, respectful. We'll take a moment. The woman glanced between them, eyes sharp. Don't make a mess. I don't, he replied. She left them alone. Alicia finally looked up. He stood there without his armor. No entourage, no visible security. Just a tall man in a charcoal coat. Eyes darker than she remembered. You shouldn't be here, she said. I go where I'm needed. Her mouth curved. That's convenient. He stepped closer. Not too close. Enough.